Today we're going to be installing rear shocks on a 2000 Outback. Alright, so the first step is to get the car in a place where you can jack it up. That's necessary. Then you remove the interior trim panel that allows you to get to the bolts for the top hat on the rear struts. Here and here. I didn't know exactly where they were at first, so I started taking apart this whole side here. Got about halfway done with it, and then realized they were all back there. So I put it back together already, so I don't like leaving things unfinished, although it does happen sometimes. I'm going to be doing both of them. So we got the other bolts here and here. So, in step 2, loosen up the lug nuts, which I've already done, whatever you have. Then step 3, jack up the car. Step 3, jack up the car underneath the center diff. Okay, step 4, grab your jack stands. Very important, especially when you have a really old jack like mine that was made in 1970. Put these jack stands underneath your control arms in the rear here. It's very important that you use these for safety stands. Then you just slowly settle the car down onto the jack stands, and then give it a little wiggle. Make sure it's not going to go anywhere. You don't want that thing falling on you. Next step is take the wheel off, and for those of you wondering, that is my broken parking brake cable hanging down there. Not a big concern at this point. I will be replacing it later. I'll probably make a video on it. Okay, so here we have the strut, coilover, spring, shock, whatever you'd like to call it. It's a bit iced up. Here's the bolt we need to remove. That has not been removed ever, it looks like. But these springs look like they're in pretty good shape, but the shocks are blown out, especially on the right-hand side here. Going down the bumpy road, the tire will actually bounce, and it upsets the direction that the car is traveling. Not to mention it makes a lot of noise. Whenever you're striking anything with a hammer, with any form of a striking device, you should always be wearing safety glasses, because chunks do fly. Sometimes they fly near you. See, that wasn't so bad. But if you're hitting metal on metal, it can come off and hit you in the eyes. Now this nut on this bolt is a 19 millimeter. The other side is a 19 millimeter as well. Here comes the tricky part, breaking free a bolt that's probably not been off in 17 years. Use a little bit of leverage here first. Alright. Tricky being a cameraman and a mechanic at the same time. First, there we go. Good. As you can see here, spinning. So what we're going to do, we're going to stick my 1/2-inch drive ratchet with the 3/4 socket on the other side, and then we're going to brace it against the subframe or the control arm, whichever it hits. And then I'm gonna jump on the breaker bar again. Wrong socket. Okay, all set there. Pop the ratchet off the other side. Once again, striking metal with metal, safety glasses. A little bit more. There we go. Is amazing for this kind of thing. I think the battery on my impact's a little bit low, because it should be able to take that off. Here we go. Alright, that one's out. Now what's going to happen when I back this nut out is the whole thing's going to drop out. Should, at least. That's what happened last time. Like I said, should. It's frozen in there, that's the case. The rubber top hat is probably frozen to the body. Right here. So, I'm going to get a little bit of leverage in there, pop it out. There we go. No problem. I just noticed that these are very different lengths. Lined up here. And that's about an inch longer than the other one. My best guess is that this is for a legacy wagon, and this is obviously for the Outback wagon. So that's the difference in height because of the two ride heights. The reason why I thought these were the Outback struts is because on the Legacy sedan, they sat higher than they should have. Now, that may be because the springs had not settled completely, and the back end of my Legacy sedan is completely gutted. So there's a lot less weight there, so that may have translated into a higher ride height. Now, this might be a little bit tricky getting these in, because I've never actually put these rear ones in before. Hopefully, they'll line up nicely, and there won't be a problem. But, I'm not holding my breath. Alright, well, no problems there. Bolt. Back bolt's not wanting to go in very easily. It's not sticking up far enough to get a nut on it yet. So, see if I can get my foot on the strut here, or my hand, whatever. There we go. No problem. Oops. You always want to make sure that your nuts are threaded on by hand before you hit them with the impact. That way you don't cross-thread them. Cross-threading nuts and bolts is not fun. And then once that's finished, we go down to the bottom and we see if we can shove that main bolt in. Beautiful. Cool. Fits right in. It's in a position where we can push down on it. The wrench where we get some leverage. There we go. Things organized. All we have to do, shove this on here and pull up. No problem. And the wrench is off. Put the wheel back on and let the car down. Always hand thread your nuts onto the stud or bolt before you hit it with the impact. And when you're putting wheels on, you all should know by now, star pattern. Pull the levers, pull them out. Now watch your fingers so that the jack stand doesn't pinch them. It's rather uncomfortable. Alright, everything out from under the car. We'll lower it down now. Looks like our ride height's just fine. It's a half an inch lower, I don't really care. Thanks for watching the video. We'll see you next time. Don't forget to like, comment, and tell us how we did. And don't forget to subscribe as well.